Hi, I'm Karen. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video and to learn more about me. Welcome to my home. Oh, and we can't forget my dog, Tyson. I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I have two sisters, one sister named Lisa who lives in Chicago and has a daughter named Noah, and I have another sister, Rachel, who lives overseas and she has two beautiful daughters. So I actually have three beautiful nieces. It has been wonderful to watch my sisters instilling their children with kindness and really an open-mindedness. My mother, her name is Miriam. She lives in Pittsburgh as well, about 5 minutes away from here, and my father passed away when I was younger. I think it's safe to say also that my mother loves her role as a grandmother. It's been great watching her interact with her grandchildren. Her nurture nature is actually reflected daily in her work as a preschool teacher, and this has naturally carried on with her grandchildren. I grew up with lots of cousins, aunts, uncles, and my grandparents. It's hard to remember a time when my parents didn't either host a family gathering or we didn't travel somewhere to celebrate a holiday or some other special occasion. I had a pretty pleasant childhood. I grew up doing a lot of typical things like playing outside, riding the bike in the neighborhood, playing hide and seek with the neighbors. Going on to school, I was a very conscientious student. I did enjoy school. I excelled in English and history and French. It's also worth mentioning that my mother actually raised me speaking French. After high school, I went on to college, the University of Pittsburgh, and there I majored in French and in education. I also, at that time, did do a study abroad in Paris, and I think it was at that time that I really became fluent in the French language. When I got back from my study abroad in Paris, I decided to major in education, and ever since I have been teaching, middle school and high school French for the past 19 years. It's been a wonderful experience for me. I enjoy watching kids grow, use what I've taught them and apply it to real life situations. One thing that I do with my students a lot is we take trips to France. So if I did have a child, this child would be very well traveled and at the very least bilingual. One of the main things I like to do is to be outside. I love to take the dog out, whether it's in my neighborhood or whether it's up the street at one of the parks. I think it's really important to be in nature, to unwind and to get some fresh air and also some physical activity at the same time. In addition to that, I like to garden, another outdoor activity. I think being outside and really making the most of and appreciating and enjoying nature is important for both adults and for children. Other activities that I enjoy are working out. I don't get to do that as much as I would like to, but I do feel really good once I have done it. I love to spend time with family and friends, whether it's hanging out at one of the cafes up the street or going to a restaurant or watching a movie. I really enjoy spending time with others. In the summers, I travel. I travel either to France with a group of students where we explore the country and we get to see everything that we've learned about in school. We also get to speak a little bit of French too. Or I visit my sisters, who one lives overseas and one lives in Chicago. I think it's really important to travel to different places, see how different people live, also for the cultural component. This is something that I would love to have a child experience. I think traveling is very, very important. I live in a great neighborhood. This neighborhood is wonderful for so many different reasons. There are many schools within close proximity of my house. In addition to that, we have beautiful parks with trails and playgrounds and ice skating rinks. Also, within 5 minutes to my home, there is a neighborhood with beautiful cafes, restaurants, shops. And one benefit of being in Pittsburgh is the university life. There are several universities in the area: University of Pittsburgh, Carnegie Mellon University, Carlow College, and several other small colleges. So this is definitely a wonderful resource for parents and for children as well. There are also many museums in Pittsburgh. We don't have a shortage of those either. And finally, I think it's worth mentioning that Pittsburgh is a sports town. So there is a sport pretty much going on every part of the year. I would say that Pittsburgh is a wonderful place to raise a child, and I'm fortunate to be in such a good neighborhood where I have close access to all of these activities. I would love to have an open or semi-open adoption, or really anything that you're comfortable with. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video and to learn more about me. I promise that as a parent, I will give any child that I have as much love as I possibly have to offer. Also, he or she will always be surrounded by many family and friends who are really looking forward to loving and caring for a baby as well. I'm really looking forward to a time where I'll be able to offer a fulfilling and loving life for a child. Thank you again for considering me. Bye.